sponsored by Local Touch Online, a free online magazine that has an exclusive article by Pop Culture Geekery every month. Are you looking for a home in New Braunfels or the surrounding areas? Lorna Gens is the realtor for you. Visit her today at facebook.com/LGensRealtor so she can help you get in your new home. Hello and welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Geekery. I'm Joe Solis and I've brought my guest host Jake back.
Hey guys, it's great to be back.
For those of you who remember, he helped with the Godzilla video. And funny little trivia about that video, if you go back and watch the opening skit we did, that place where we filmed where it looked like rubble, that place here in New Braunfels is actually completely gone. So
yeah, it's like we should have waited until they were done with it, and then it could have been actual rubble.
I didn't have any idea. Apparently we got out there just in time, but now it's forever immortalized in that opening skit. So which we did have some people vote for that last year as some of their favorites. So so tonight we're going to talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Those of you who have followed this movie, obviously, you know all the controversy that's been behind it as soon as that opening trailer came out, which presented us with this lovely image right here. That I know Jake said it created nightmare fuel for him.
No. I do not believe. I just don't believe that a professional would create that, and then another professional would be handed it and approve that and be like, yeah, let's sell that. Let's give that to the world with a straight face that we're going to give them a hour and a half movie of that nightmare.
Yeah. So, and there's a theory that that was done on purpose,
absolutely.
Right? So.
I would absolutely believe that they would do that for PR.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we'll find out this weekend if it worked. So we're going to split the video into two. So this first half of the video will be no spoilers, even though honestly there's really not. There's a little bit you could spoil, and we will talk about it in spoilers.
There's just not much of a story to spoil because it's just so plain.
Yeah, but pretty much what you saw in the trailers, that's the story. So yeah, I mean, you have Cyclops, James Marsden, who befriends Sonic.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Is that Cyclops?
Yeah.
I just knew him from other stuff. I didn't know him from... it's been that long since I've seen X-Men.
Well, that's where my nerd brain goes. And yes, it's been 20 years since the first X-Men.
Oh my God.
So, but yeah, he befriends Sonic, and of course, you know, they introduce the bad guy, which is Jim Carrey, plays Dr. Robotnik. So yeah, I guess, you know, everybody's just waiting for this to be a train wreck, and, you know, I haven't really seen too many reviews out yet, but I think we can safely say we walked out of the movie and we're like, that was fine. Like, that was okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you're going to get what you saw in the previews, just way longer. I mean, I think that's a good thing relatively, because I know a lot of people expected far worse, but I mean, it's what you would expect a live-action Sonic movie would be, and I think that's okay. It was just kind of a simple movie that you could kind of shut your brain off. Yeah. And it was short, which I can give them that, is that it didn't drag on too long. And, you know, it was there, and then, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's how a lot of people are going to feel. I think it's definitely more of a family movie, you know, because they play up the kind of goofiness of Sonic and all the slapstick comedy and whatnot. So hopefully, you know, if kids will go see it with their parents, and their parents hopefully will be entertained by Jim Carrey. Yeah, it's one of those. I guess I'm just glad that it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't amazing either.
Honestly, I think it would have been better if they. You know what? That can be for the second part, but
the spoilers.
Yeah. But I think you're right that it's going to be way more of a kids movie, even though honestly I think it would have been a little smarter. It would have been smarter if they had kind of turned it more to the actual fan base, made it more orientated for the adults who grew up on Sonic. Of course, I'm kind of impartial because the only Sonic game I ever finished was Sonic Battle for the Game Boy Advance. And I think I played a little bit of the original one, and that's about it.
And I mean,
Sonic Underground.
Since Sega, they're not a console themselves anymore, like they were when Sonic first came out. So they could point to that and say, hey, you can go play all the Sonic games here. Now Sonic, for what I understand, exists mostly at Nintendo, right? Just kind of all over the place. See, that's what I think.
I think their last game, Sonic Mania, belongs to the Switch.
Yeah,
I know it's definitely on the Switch. I don't know if that's exclusive or what.
But I mean, they did have a nice little opening logo, a la reminded me like of the Marvel Universe logo, but it showed all the Sega games. Yeah, and they did do a nice little rendition of that, except it was an orchestra. So you can tell that they're kind of testing the waters. It'd be nice to take some of the old Sega properties and see which ones would be movie worthy. But this one, I mean, it's going to have to do decent at least for them to even look at that. We'll say they, without spoilers, they do set up for sequels. Or a sequel at least.
I think that's very brave of them to kind of for what they gave. I'm not saying that a sequel wouldn't be good, but that's kind of I think it's a little jumping the gun to kind of set that up. In my opinion.
No, you're right. They should have probably waited to see, because we don't want this to be the next Super Mario Brothers movie where it was set up for a sequel that will never ever come.
I mean, but I wasn't with this. I wasn't hitting my head on on the table.
Yeah, like with a Super Mario movie.
Oh my God.
There's at least one jab at Nintendo that we could catch that was actually kind of a running joke. I was under the impression from other reviews that there was more. I was trying to pay attention for them. I didn't catch any of them. Did you?
I mean, no. And even the jab, the one jab that you could point, it's a very loose one. It's not a complete stretch, just because it's kind of on the nose a little, but it is a little bit it's a very subtle.
Well, I think they had to, because they could only
there was no name. I meant in the sense there was no name drop. There's no there's no actual reference. Aside from that little bit.
Yeah, it was basically enough to where they couldn't get in trouble for it.
But it was it was on the nose enough to be hey, this is an iconic piece of Nintendo. Whereas it was still vague enough in which it's not actually affiliated with Nintendo.
Yeah, and I mean, James Marsden's okay in the lead. I mean, he's very, I don't want to say generic, but very basic. He plays it just exactly the way you would think.
I think that's just how you could. I think honestly, that's what you can call the movie, though. Basic. Yeah. The story is. One thing I was really surprised is I thought it was going to be a little more grandioso. It was, I mean, it's not bad that they started off slow, but it felt, like you said earlier, more like an origin story.
Yeah, it feels a little more like a prequel, especially, let's talk about Jim Carrey for a moment. I mean, I think he did really good. He was channeling a little bit of the Riddler, I hadn't seen him in this type of role in a while, to where he just kind of seemed like he was having fun with it.
He was the Riddler?
And, in Batman Forever. But, it's okay.
I forgot all about that. You're right. I just forgot all about that.
Hey, man. Generational gap.
All kinds of revelations being realized. Yeah. Was that the George Clooney one?
No, it was before that one.
I'm getting my Batmans.
Yeah.
My Batman's confused.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he seemed like he did pretty good. You could tell he was improvised, and I'm sure a lot of his stuff was improvised. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. We can move into spoilers, because there's a few little things that are worth talking about, some nuggets that were in there. Do you have anything else to say? We can give our ratings too before we go into spoilers.
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna say 6.5, because while I wouldn't call it a bad movie, it wasn't groundbreaking, or it did nothing really new. I think some of the little effects were cool, like what they did with the rings. Can I say that? Like, is that too much to...
No, they were in the trailer.
All right. Okay, yeah, then the rings. I think the rings were kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, they gave him a reason for existing.
And I liked a lot of the not so subtle nods to Sonic, like the shoes, how the shoes were brought in, and how the main town was called Green Hill.
Yeah, and he did call Robotnik Eggman a couple times, which is more of an insult. But, so if you remember, our scale is 1 to 10, and so 5 is an average movie. I don't know if I've really given anything a 5 yet. But when I think of a 5, I just think of, I watched it, it was fine, I didn't hate it. Maybe I'll watch it again later. I mean, I would definitely watch a sequel, but I wouldn't necessarily have to go back and
wouldn't watch
this.
Like this. I would watch the sequel. I'd go with you, watch the sequel. I'm not going to go watch this again.
Yeah, so
I'm not too excited to go see this again.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna settle on a straight 5 out of 10. There's nothing to really hate about it. It's there. You go, you enjoy it. If you're an old fan of Sonic, I mean, I think you'll enjoy the design is spot on. That's what they fixed.
Story-wise and everything else, this is a newer generation and newer look on Sonic.
Yeah. So anyway, before we move on to spoilers, just want to say thanks to those of you who subscribed so far. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe. Hit like if you like this. Hit the bell notification if it will let you know when a new video pops up. And but yeah, so for those of you who are going to stick around, we are going to move on to spoilers. All right, so for those of you who are still here, that means you want to hear the spoilers, or maybe you already saw it, or maybe you don't care because there's really not that much to spoil in this movie.
I mean, there's not much. There's not much story.
Yeah, and that was the main issue. That's why I couldn't really rate it too high, because the story is very, very basic. I mean, they just
honestly, like you said, it's so basic that I gave it a 6.5 just because it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was being kind of generous. The characters are very generic and surface level, and there are some points in which it feels progression isn't really earned. I noticed, they're friends, but there's only so much natural growth with them. Like that bar scene, I think that's the only natural growth I've felt with them. Everything else is just very surface level. The part where they thought he was dead, and Robotnik was like, let's put the body on ice.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was my friend. And then he goes super... He doesn't go Super Saiyan Sonic.
Yeah.
All you Sonic fans, he doesn't go Super Saiyan, but he does start to glow.
Yeah.
And
like the step before, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really pushed Sonic in this, this role of being alone. Oh, by the way, at the very origin, at the beginning, who was the owl? Was that somebody from one of the games?
No, that's why maybe it was from the comics. I know it wasn't from Sonic Underground because, that's my territory. That's my introduction to Sonic.
Yeah.
There you go, people. Sonic Underground. Sonic Underground.
I remember that.
Sonic Underground.
But yeah, I'd have to look up that character because there's this owl character that is raising him as a baby Sonic at the very beginning of the movie, and she gets killed when he's trying to escape, and I was trying to rack my brain. I was like, am I supposed to know who this character is? I mean, as a person who grew up with the games, obviously.
Is there an owl even in Sonic?
I'll look it up. If I find it, I'll post it in here where we're talking. But so that was interesting, and I mean, you got to see his original world, which is basically the Sega game world. In
a 3-dimensional.
Yeah, so that was cool, and man, I just really want to talk about the end.
Right? The end credits.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the credits were actually pretty cool. How they kind of took the tropes from some of their more popular 2D games. I actually thought that was well done.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
because animated like the classic Sonic games.
and it felt natural, and
It
it just
gave me a little anxiety seeing some of those old stages again. I was like, I remember having to play these over and over and dying and
like
over.
I said, Sonic Battle. That's like the most Sonic I know.
But yeah, the reason we're saying it feels like a prequel is because you've got Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, and of course you got introduction to Sonic, but Jim Carrey doesn't really have the same look that's traditional, but he does by the end of the movie, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Why did he do that? Like, why did he shave his? Like, they don't really give a reason.
I don't know. He's going crazy. Oh, by the way, because he ends up in the world that they keep referring to as the world with mushrooms. Which that's our poke at Nintendo, we assume. Yeah. But other than that, there was nothing else in there. It was a very safe poke, I guess you could say, because they weren't not going to get in trouble for that. Yeah. But okay, I'm just going to say it. Tails comes out in the
my theory was he was going to make little woodland creatures that were like actual fox and actual echidna and actual bat, and he was just going to like name them that kind of stuff. That's how I thought this was going to go about. Like, he'd be like, all right, I got to leave the forest. Bye, Tails. Bye, Knuckles.
No. See, I was waiting for it to be Knuckles, and I was waiting for you to laugh because I was gonna be like, he's gonna be like, can you do it?
Do you know the way?
Yeah,
that is so dead.
I know, but
that's another thing.
Yeah.
Is that it had very topical references, like it had flossing, which I already was kind of starting to groan because that was already it literally just came out, and so like a year dated.
Yeah. And then they did an Uber joke, which is not dated, but I feel like it will be eventually.
Forced.
Yeah.
It just feels like stuff like that just feels forced.
But I do hope that the movie does well. I mean, because like you were saying, you thought that they were going to make up the other characters.
Yeah, I thought it was just like I thought it was going to be that, and I would have laughed at that.
Well, I hoped that they learned with this whole fiasco with the redesign. They're like, okay, we're going to give them actual tails. We're not going to try to, get around it. Like maybe in their old thinking they would have done that, but at least what?
That was just like that was seriously scary.
What? Oh, the old. Okay,
that's it. Put that back on.
No.
Put it back on. Look at that. You have to deal with it like I did. That was.
Yes, but it's better now. It looks like this.
Human teeth.
No, it looks like this now.
No, but it was scary, Joe.
Yes, but it's over. It's over. You're okay. All those months of therapy that you had.
It's okay.
Yeah. So.
It's okay.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. That got me really excited. Sonic was not really. It was a game that I played, growing up, but it was more my brother's thing. Like he really got into Sonic. He got the games. He got the comic books. He had a Sonic plushie that he carried around. Like I know he loved Tails.
Comics.
Yeah. There's so many. But anyway, yeah. I guess just bottom line. Hopefully this movie doesn't get any hate. It really does not deserve hate. I mean, the original design did, but now that they fixed it and now that the movie's out, it's fine. It's one of those you take your kids to and you'll enjoy it, hopefully.
The only complaint I can feel about it is that it does feel a little too family and modern kid oriented. Yeah. And that Sonic, that's what Sonic originally is for, but I think it would have gelled over a lot better if you had marketed it a lot more to the older adults. Yeah. I'm not saying it has to be like Logan rated R or even PG-13. Like it can be towards like kid friendly.
But I think another 20 years from now.
Oh yeah, the blur.
Yeah.
But no, it's like you give it a more nostalgic feeling of. I don't know. I think it would have been better if it was like set in the 90s.
Yeah.
Back when he was in his heyday, because let's be honest, don't sue us, Sega. He's had better days.
Yeah, I mean, if you plucked this movie and sent it back in time into the 90s, I think it would have blown up at that time.
I just think it would have been like, I think marketing it more and revolving it more around that would have been a little better, and I think it would have been a little more bearable. But it's a plain movie, and so, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't really have much more to say about it, do you?
Oh, before we end this video, this is something that's been haunting me for years. So you know Sonic, the fast food restaurant where you drive your car into, and they serve chili dogs. Why the heck did they never, like, think, hey, let's get Sega on the phone? Literally, it writes, there's no work done.
Yeah.
It's literally, oh, hey, Sonic the Hedgehog, who likes chili dogs. Sonic the restaurant that serves mostly chili dogs. Two very iconic 90s themes. It literally, the only work marketing has to do is, hey, we need animators to get over here and draw a cartoon Sonic running into the thing and grabbing a chili dog and running out.
The second set of animators, not the first.
Well, yeah. But still, that's like all it needs.
Yeah.
And like the ones that they went with were even weirder. They went with Burger King.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird. That you went with like someone that's, I don't know. That's just something that's going to bug me for a while.
Well, you know, when the executives watch our show, because you know that they watch our show, then I'm sure they'll call you. So
yeah.
So just send an email for Jake's number, and our people will call your people.
Yeah. I accept Sonic chili dogs and McFlurries.
Oh, God.
Wait, is that that's Dairy Queen?
No, that's McDonald's. McFlurries, McDonald's.
Oh,
you know.
I don't go to McDonald's. I don't go to Dairy Queen, even though.
Anyway, we're derailing here. Okay. So anyway, guys, I mean, if you're curious about the movie, you know, go watch it. If you're not, you know, then just wait for it to come and stream later. But anyway, so thanks again for watching, guys. Subscribe, bell, like, and we will see you next time.